Met your wife at Oakwood?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a whole other story I have to do another show about. We actually went to college together, but we didn't date.
Okay.
We didn't start dating until after she got her master's. Like, she didn't like me back in college.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she liked me, but not enough to say yes.
Yeah.
Right? So, but we're celebrating 20 years this month.
Congratulations.
I won.
She didn't win. She didn't win.
What's up? Bill McCleskey in the building with
My boy.
he said my boy.
What's up, y'all? Bill McCleskey in the building with TechDontSleep podcast, and we got another one for you. I'm actually let me put this up. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whenever you're listening to this podcast. We have a special guest with us this afternoon. Man, I'm telling you, Carlin Alford.
The first.
Okay. And currently he is the founder of Alfco Wireless. Is that correct?
Correct. Alfco Wireless Consulting.
So we're going to get into what you do, how you got there. Because, man, I know one thing about you, Carlin, and I've known you for, about 5 years, maybe?
Yeah, going
something
on 5
like that.
years.
So you have experienced a lot in your life. You've done a lot of things, a lot of interesting things. And man, we gotta talk about it. We gotta talk about how all these things that you've done, and then how you got to starting this technology company and this venture, and what you're doing for businesses. And by the way, I'm really big on, especially at MyTech, we talk to our customers a lot about backup, wireless, or failover connectivity, because we know that if a business is operating and their internet goes down, if they have an outage, they lose productivity or they lose money, basically, right? And so I think that's one thing, a hot button that your company really feels in terms of filling a solution or a gap for a company. So we're going to jump into that. But as usual, guys, you know, we like to get to know our guests, and we do that by playing a game. So are you ready?
It's game time.
It's game time.
Game time.
Let's do it. All right. So we got my man here, and we're gonna play this game called I Got 5 on It. So what that means is you got 5 seconds.
Oh, okay.
To answer each question. What do you think you're going to have to do?
Well, I'm a hip hop head, so I know where that came from.
Oh, no doubt. Okay. All right. So you got 5 seconds to answer each question. All right.
Okay.
First question. What was your favorite class in college and why?
My favorite class in college undoubtedly was speech class.
Okay.
To the speech class, I've always loved to be a public speaker. Started off doing that in 8th grade. Actually won a state contest in high school in the persuasive speech contest, and just kept it going. And I had a phenomenal speech teacher at Oakwood University, Oakwood College back then. But yeah, loved it, absolutely.
The infamous Oakwood in Huntsville, Alabama.
Yes,
for
sir.
y'all who don't know. Okay. All right. Number 2. Which song best describes you? Now, before we started recording, you were singing R. Kelly.
Is this really going on tape? Is the video running?
Is it running?
Oh God! No,
Okay. Since you called me out,
No,
that's not my favorite song. But let me tell you let me tell you how it applies to my life.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay? The song that I was singing is "I Don't See Nothing Wrong with a Little Bump and Grind," and for me, every day I get up grinding, and you know,
Do you get up bumping though?
Only when I'm in the car. I turn the radio up and it's bumping
Okay.
between customers. But every day I'm willing to grind, even on Friday.
That's right, baby. I love it. All right. Number 3, Apple or Android?
Oh, Android.
Oh.
Apple is of the devil,
Okay.
and I pray for those people.
Number 4, which app do you use most for your business?
I'm gonna say the mobile version of Quickbooks.
Okay.
Just because when you're a small business, you know, it's important to be timely with your invoice, stay on top of receivables or whatever, because your life could go out at any moment.
Wow. Yeah. NASCAR or Formula 1 racing?
I gotta be careful because I have friends in both. I'm going to go ahead and say NASCAR.
Okay, there's a reason we're asking this question, and I don't know the background, but were you a race car driver, or were you?
For a brief period, I was a professional race car.
Oh man, we gotta talk about that. Okay, cool. I think Eddie mentioned that to me. I think that's why I questioned it. All right, so hip hop or R&B?
Well, I'm a hip hop head because my generation, I say, started hip hop. I'm at that age where I can say my generation started hip hop, but the merging of R&B and hip hop in the early '90s means that I can straddle the fence without any problem because I love R&B.
Okay. That was a great PC answer, politically correct answer. All right, so music industry or tech industry?
I'm going to say tech industry. I was in the music industry for a handful of years, and no offense, I mean, most of my friends are in the music industry. It's one of the slimiest industries there is. And, you know, you run into sharks in every business. I certainly have done that in technology, but nothing like the music industry, man.
Gotcha. I agree. How do you clear your mind after a stressful day?
That's actually pretty easy. There's two things that I do. One, I'll go sit out on my deck. And, you know, the way our deck is positioned, we face the west, so I see the sunset.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And it's a 2-story, so I sit up high. So I'm above the noise, I'm above everything, and I lock the door so my kids can't come out on the deck, and, you know, my wife's looking at me through the window. I'll do that. And I'll do that till my mind is clear. Or I'll be in my garage, literally underneath my car on the garage floor, with a wrench in my hand, absolutely doing nothing.
Wow.
Just staring up at the bottom of my project car.
That's deep. Okay. Coaching or playing sports?
I mean, to this day, I'm still a coach. I love coaching kids. I've been a coach now for 30 plus years. But when I was playing at the highest level that I ever played sports, I absolutely loved it. Just being able to be free and run as fast as you can, jump as high as you can, throw as far as you can. I just enjoy it. I enjoy both, but impacting people's lives has a longer effect because I ain't doing stuff I used to do.
Definitely. And you'll find, guys, for those of you who are listening, these are relevant questions, okay? Because you've been involved in all this stuff. So
is this more than 5 questions?
No, it's not 5 questions. You have 5 seconds.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of like 5 fingers of depth on Sway in the morning.
No.
Okay.
All right, so we got 2 more though.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, so who do you admire most?
Oh, this isn't multiple choice?
No, it's not.
Who do I admire most? I feel like that's way too general because I'm one of those people that believes in the other folks have created a template. And in order to be successful, you can follow a template. You know what I mean? I don't have to be super smart or super charismatic or, for that matter, even work all that hard. If somebody else has been a success in something else, I admire people who are successful. So from a legacy standpoint, I admire my dad. My dad was he worked for the federal. He was a federal agent for the federal government for a number of years, but he had a side business that helped small businesses get their business paper. He called business papers in order. So he would help them get their incorporation or whatever. And most of those were minority businesses. I learned at an early age how to help folk, right? So I admire him. I admire there's a man who helped me establish my own business here in technology. A man named Shuman Dutta, who I actually worked with, then hired him as a consultant. Like, we have this incestuous type of he's my boss, I'm his boss, whatever. He's like one of the smartest people that I know, and he is one of the investors that helped me reopen Alfco Wireless Consulting. So I admire him. I admire you. When I met you, I mean, you were literally doing what I actually laughed inside myself too. Like, I cannot believe I'm actually saying that. No, I mean, like, when we first met, it was at an industry event, and like the only seat open, I don't know if you remember this or not, was right next to me. And we were all both kind of nervous. We were kind of whispering, like, I wonder if they think we planned this. Like, the 2 black guys in the room are like sitting next to each other.
Well, what were the seats said color? No.
They did after we sat in.
I walked in, I was like, where's my seat? No, I'm just okay.
Yeah, and just to I'm involved in public speaking. I'm writing books. I'm trying to get my company to the level where you have your company. And quite frankly, it's like before I knew you, I had a picture of what I wanted my business life to look like. And then here you come along and it's like, yeah, it looks like that. So it's been pretty easy for me to say that, I admire you from a business standpoint. I had a personal standpoint, I think. I mean, but, from a business standpoint, for sure.
He said, I think. All right, man. Last question. Thank you, man. I think that was a compliment.
Yeah.
Would you rather be mayor of Nashville or principal of Oakwood University? Not principal, but president of Oakwood University.
Neither is realistic at this point. I would say mayor of Nashville because I love this town. I've been here 26 years and haven't moved since I got here. I was here when there was 700,000 people, and now we're at 1.3 million. And this city now nationally is on the national stage.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of eyes on us. And I honestly think that you can take a good situation and make it great. We're in a good situation. There's not a whole lot to complain about Nashville. I mean, we have our issues, and I can list what they are. But to be a mayor, people don't understand, is to be more of a public servant. It's less political than you think. I mean, you're fixing potholes, You're not talking about national issues like gun rights or abortion or this, that, or the third. You're trying to make sure that the teachers are getting their fair pay. You're trying to make sure that, like I said, the 8,000 potholes around the city are getting fixed. You're trying to make sure that, the police are in tune with the community so that you don't have this rub going back and forth, or that you have enough ladder trucks for your fire department. Those kind of things help create the safety and equity linearly for a community. And I think that I would enjoy doing that more, but it doesn't mean that I wouldn't enjoy being president of my, the school that I attended.
Yeah, no, that was good, man. So when you went to you mentioned when you went to Oakwood, it was Oakwood College, right?
Correct.
In Nashville, Alabama. And so when you came out of Oakwood, what did you do immediately, like coming out of college?
So it's kind of weird. I didn't finish at Oakwood.
Okay.
I went 2 years and 1 quarter.
Did you get kicked out like Brian McKnight? Or
No, but I was there when he got kicked out.
Okay.
Shout out to Brian.
I don't even know.
I dunked on him in my freshman year in 1989.
Oh man, Brian's not here to defend himself.
You can't rewrite history. I was there. I was actually at the talent show.
Wait a minute, you dunked on him? Is that
absolutely?
Okay,
absolutely. There's no question. There was witnesses.
Yeah.
And I was at the talent show that Chris Willis won over Brian McKnight at UAH off campus.
Wow.
That's a whole other story. Shout
out to Chris Willis.
Yeah. Shout out to Chris Willis.
We gotta send this to him.
Okay.
Hey, call Brian McKnight. See if we can get him on.
Yeah.
On the line right
all right. So I left there and I went to Southwestern Michigan, where I still had a basketball scholarship.
Okay. Because you're from Michigan.
Because I'm from Michigan.
Okay.
Messed up my knee on the first day of practice.
Oh, wow.
Ended up only staying a semester and transferred again to Andrews University in Berrien Springs, Michigan. That's where I graduated.
Okay.
I had an internship with the largest advertising agency in the area. I just simply called the president and I said, I want an internship at your ad agency. Like, we're not paying. I was like, I don't care. I want something to put on a resume because I want a job before I before I walk across the stage with my diploma. Sure, he's like, come on down. And I had an internship with Pathfinder's advertising agency. And then upon the day of graduation, I accepted an offer from Motor State Distributing / Lane Automotive, which is a high performance and racing auto parts wholesaler in southwestern Michigan, Coloma, Michigan, and in their advertising and marketing department. And so I had a job the day that I walked across the stage with my diploma. And it was with a racing company, which was one of the passions of mine. So you couldn't ask for anything better. I was in my field, and I had something passionate. I was very passionate.
What were you doing? You were in the advertising department selling ads?
I was in the advertising, creating ads, and actually negotiating ads with sponsors. Like they were doing catalogs for parts. So back in the day, they used to have these real thick catalogs with all the auto parts. All the different parts in there. So I had to talk to all the different companies and get them to spend money to buy ads in our catalogs. And then do some of the graphic design to do that, because my major was in communication. my minor was in graphic design, and I had a double minor in French, but in my junior year, I realized the world revolved around Spanish, and I just dropped it.
Yeah. So where did the passion for race car driving come? Like that was already there, like in college or high school, right?
Yeah, way before that.
Were you already racing, or
to a certain degree? Okay. So I come from the country, like country. A lot of people think country is is like a name, but if I took you to Niles, Michigan, you go down one highway, it's 3 lanes, then it goes to 2 lanes, then it goes to 1 lane, then it goes to a dirt road. You make a left on that dirt road, then you're in the country.
Wow.
Right, that's where I'm from.
That's where you grew up.
that's where I'm from. And so my uncles, my mom's brothers, were all hot rodders. They all had muscle cars back in the 70s and 80s. My uncle, my mom's brother-in-law, he was a hot rodder. Our next door neighbor had a stock car he raced at the local track, and he had a go-kart. And I would go sit in his garage and watch work on the car. He was like, "You want to drive that go-kart?" So he asked my parents. He took me to the track one week, and I set the record for my age group the first time out. And he came back, he was like telling my dad, he's like, "Yeah, this kid can drive. I don't know who taught him or whatever." I was like 8, 9. And so I just kept, doing it. It was behind the scenes. It wasn't for any kind of fanfare or trying to get any kind of, whatever. And so, I just always had a passion for cars. My first job was working at an auto parts store, sweeping the floors. I was 14, but I lied to them and told them I was 15, so they would hire me. And I started sweeping the floors. I worked my way up to the catalog sales, and then I became a cashier and a clerk, then an assistant manager. That was a job I kept consistently through high school, part-time, and even through college, part-time, up to I was managing a $2 million store while I was a senior in college.
So at what point did you become a professional race car driver?
So in 2001, here in Nashville, I moved here to Nashville back in '97, and I was helping out a guy tune his car at the fairgrounds. Yeah. And he just couldn't quite get the lap that he wanted out of it. He was like, "Why don't you jump in and take a lap? Maybe we can get this thing dialed in right." And there was really nobody out there, I didn't think. So I took a lap, and I ran a hot lap, right? And we came back.
Which means what?
Means you run a really fast lap.
Okay. Gotcha.
And Larry Woody, I don't know if you ever remember that name. Larry Woody is a legendary sports writer for the Tennessee, and he's retired now. He happened to be there, and he saw me get out, and he was like, "Whoa, we don't see one of those very often." And you know what that means? Like, you don't see a black guy driving a race car. Yeah. So he came down, and he's like, "You mind if I do an article about you?" I'm like, "About what?" And he's like,
"About this hot lap."
Yeah, he was like, "You're clearly a driver," and I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm just helping him. I'm helping him out." So he wrote it. Next thing I know, I'm on the front cover. I'm on the front page of the Tennessean, because at the time NASCAR was doing a diversity push. They wanted to try to find the Tiger Woods, right? So they were doing a diversity push. I was unaware of it, right? And so that article, within a week, I had gotten 4 calls and 4 offers from race teams wanting me to drive for them. Wow! So I signed with a team out of Hickory, North Carolina, to race in the Goodies Dash Series. We did that for kind of half season. They didn't really have a whole lot of sponsorship, but I got my competitive license. I raced. I got my Indy Racing League rookie license. So that was on the Formula 1, but it was really IndyCar. Yeah. So the IndyCars that were here a few weeks ago, those. Okay. But the 2000 versions of it. It was a team out of St. Louis, Dr. Jim Logan. I just spoke to him the other day. He was supposed to be here for the race, and the car that I actually drove, he still has it. Wow. And they were actually going to bring it and put it in the vintage parade, and I was like, "Well, vintage? So I'm vintage now?" I'm that old? And he was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry."
It was 20 years ago, man.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, you had to say that.
No, it's all good. That's pretty interesting, man. So you became a professional race car driver. So did you make some money doing that? I guess do you have to win, or?
No, you don't have to win. I mean, you make a certain amount of money based on the contract that you have, but you pay to get in these races. Your sponsor, your team pays to get in these races. Yeah. So by the time you even it out, if you finish I did 21st or something, you get at the level I was getting, you get $5,000, right? Well, if it costs you $3,000 to get in, $1,000 to actually pay your crew and stuff like that, making money was a relative term. I didn't get rich. And to be honest with you, most guys at the lower levels don't get rich.
Yeah.
You have to make it to the top level. But once you do,
yeah, got you. So how? What were you doing all that time? I guess you were working different jobs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, and kind of this was kind of your hobby or your side hustle or whatever. You know, doing your thing.
Yeah, it was more of an opportunity that came by because I really wasn't looking to do it. I wasn't like trying to be a race car driver. That has happened to me in just about every side thing that I've done in my life. You know, the professional baseball thing, the record label thing. It all was just like opportunities that happened.
What's the professional baseball? Did you play professional baseball?
I played minor league baseball. For sure.
For who?
For the Irving Rangers, was a developmental team for the Texas Rangers.
Okay.
I played in the NABA, so that's one thing I was doing my senior year of college as well.
So once you hit a home run and somebody's like, yo, let me do an article on you, and then you
No, I actually see, this is what it was always going to be.
Oh man,
I knew it was going to be like this.
This is good, man. This is good.
And so 94.
You gotta write a book though about all this stuff you done. It's kind of like Forrest Gump had the impact on all of these.
That's the way I refer to myself, as Forrest Gump. Like I was never great at any particular thing. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you. You know.
Just a bunch of average cats talking to each other. You know what I'm saying? Hey, he said the environment, then he said it.
I kind of, the way that came out, I'm actually not sorry about it. Sorry, not sorry. No, for real. So 94, I was a senior in college at Andrews University, but I was playing in the NABA, which is the National Adult Baseball Association.
Okay.
I led the league in stolen bases with 46. So I was actually good, right? And I was a switch hitter because I'm ambidextrous. I think I was born left-handed, but I'm old enough where if you were born left-handed, they made you right-handed in school. So I ended up being a switch hitter. I was really fast. I had a decent arm, so I was a center fielder, and I got a contract offer from the Texas Rangers to play on their NABA team in Irving. So that's why I moved from Michigan to Dallas. And I was playing for them, and I had a call-up tryout. And first of all, I had to set the stage. I was that dude. I had a pair of Deion Sanders Diamond Turf metal cleats. But the cleats were gold with my number engraved on the cleats. I had the sweatbands with my number embroidered on it as if I was going to forget my number, right? I had the gold chain with my number on it, right? You know, and I'm like...
Yeah.
Superstar status because that's the way I thought of myself, right? And in my call-up tryout, I got hurt sliding into second base. One of my cleats got caught in the turf, and I dislocated my ankle, tore a tendon, broke bone, a little bit of nerve damage. I went from being able to run like a 4.49 40 to a year after rehab I was like a 4.8.
So you were like a legit athlete, bro.
Yeah.
4.49.
Yeah, at 195, 195.
Wow.
Pounds. Yeah. Like 100 pounds ago, but
that is crazy.
Yeah, it was rolling at that. But I mean, it's major league. It's major league. Yeah. They don't waste time on you. Like if you know, and I got hurt. So if you saw the Dak Prescott injury last year, how ugly that was. That's what mine looked like. That's what mine looked like. Like my foot was pointing the other direction.
Nah, that's crazy.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, on that note, we're gonna take a quick break for a commercial for one of our sponsors, and we'll be right back. Yeah.
What's up, y'all? It's Bill McCleskey again, your local meteorologist. No, I'm just joking. Hey, quick break for one of our sponsors. Thank you so much to Spectrum Business. As you know, as a small and medium business, providing the right services as it relates to internet connectivity, voice over IP service or phone service, and TV service if you're like a sports bar or a hotel or a restaurant or whatever. Or, a lot of businesses should actually get TV service in their break rooms. But anyhow, Spectrum Business, if they are in your footprint, is a great option. And let me tell you why. The main thing that I love about Spectrum Business as it relates to small business services is no contracts. Is that crazy? Shout out to Spectrum Business. Now, if you're getting fiber or some advanced products, there are contracts, but the pricing is amazing. So find out if Spectrum Business is in your footprint and reliable, or not reliable, but available for your business. They are a consistent sponsor for us, and we've helped several businesses throughout the country with Spectrum Business. All right. So visit TechDontSleep.com, or you can just go to mytechpartners.com to get options for Spectrum Business. All right, y'all. Back to this episode.
Holla. Back, man, and Mr. Carl. I'm telling you, we got a lot of stories here. You know, we're gonna jump into to how you got to starting your technology consulting company, and because I truly believe like entrepreneurs are the most interesting people on the planet because they've done so much, they've experienced so much, and that all impacts how they grow their business and how they present themselves and their brand to the world. So that's why I like telling the stories, man, and digging in deep. So we last talked about your foot being turned the opposite direction,
South.
Playing baseball. But I want to get into a couple of things. Number one, how you got into the music business, okay? Because I know you started a record label, right?
Yes.
Started a record label, and then how you what else did you do that I want to talk about?
Ran for mayor.
Oh yeah, you ran for mayor, man, and what you're doing there, and then how you got to because you started Alfco before you ran for mayor. Yes, you did. I think no, you did. No. You're right.
No.
Okay, so
Alfco was a restart, but I can give you the run up on that.
Okay, but let's talk about the music thing because I want to know how you got to like being an Olympian to go or such an elite athlete, right? To music, and I know you went to Oakwood. That's a big musical influence and all that stuff. Church, but how did that happen?
So again, like I told you, I was around the country, but I come from a very musical family.
Okay.
So when I was a kid, like my mom and her sister, the Baker sisters, were legendary in our region for singing gospel.
Okay.
Right. My aunt Myrna played, my mom would sing. They would open for big gospel names that would come to town. A big name would come to town, and you have local openers.
Yep.
That's what they were.
Okay.
Right? And so they were. So I grew up, just around like mostly gospel music, but not exclusively.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's cousin, Calvin Harris, was a producer and engineer for the Commodores.
Oh wow!
Back on the Heat Wave album when Lionel Richie was with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, our family had this tie. Like even today, even though cousin Cal has passed away, his son Cal Harris Jr. is got a Grammy nominated jazz album that's out. So I come from a musical family before I even got to Oakwood.
Okay.
Right. One of my cousins who passed away a couple years ago, Richard Marable from South Bend, Indiana. He worked for LaFace Records. He was actually what you would call an artist management development person, A&R.
Mm-hmm.
And he had an artist named Damien. They had whatever. He was on LaFace Records,
mm-hmm.
and so he was actually music director for The Deal with Babyface, and then went on tour. This was like my brother, so he's telling me these industry stories or whatever. I never had a desire to be in the music industry. So when I got to Oakwood, I was just absorbing it all. I mean, it's just we got Grammy Award winner, future Grammy Award winners walking around campus.
Right.
Like the joke there is that you can take any four people and start singing 4-part harmony, and it's almost the truth. Like seriously, it's almost there's that much musical talent there. So the networking started there. Okay. So now we're graduated. We're all kind of in our fields of choice. I'm in advertising, corporate communications, but a lot of my friends were moving to Nashville because of the music industry. Yeah. So when I got married, man, like half the people that were in our wedding were people who were either signed or were singing backup a whole lot on big albums or out on tour or whatever, and relatives. I had relatives that was, like MDing, places. So one day I was my agent for racing, actually. Also,
it's all connected. Okay,
also managed my wife's group. My wife was in a group that was on the roster for EMI.
You met your wife at Oakwood?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story I have to do another show about. We actually went to college together, but we didn't date.
Okay.
We didn't start dating until after she got her master's. Like, she didn't like me back in college. I mean, she liked me, but not enough to say yes.
Yeah.
Right? So, but we're celebrating 20 years this month.
Congratulations.
I won.
She didn't win.
She didn't win. She's taking an L every day. No, it's all good. So anyway, my agent came to me and said she was not just representing my wife's group. She was representing Kim Burrell.
Okay.
And she was like, look, Kim is unhappy with her record label. She wants to go with an independent label. If you start a label tomorrow, I guarantee you she'll sign with you. I'm like,
wow.
I don't know, Kim. You know what I mean? She's like, no, I will introduce you. She's like, because you have the marketing and advertising experience. You have all the musical connections that you need in the industry. She says, you just need to put it together. Like, I literally knew nothing about the music industry. So I took about 6 months, and I started asking my friends, like, what does this mean? How do you get a deal? What does your contract look like? Like, my friends like showing me their contracts.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, really, what's an advance? What's this? What's that? You know? And 6 months literally taught myself about the music industry through my friends, and went to putting together a business plan with an Oakwoodite friend of mine, classmate of mine named Ernest Flowers. Ernest Flowers works on Wall Street in New York. And he said, yo, Carlin, if you start a record label, man, I can help you raise the money. I'm like, how? He said, you're going to do a reverse over-the-counter traded stock, and you will be the first label to offer stock for privately held organization. He helped me put together the corporate papers, all this, the filings that needed to be done, and we were offering stock in Gospel Incorporated from day one. As a private institution that raised like $150,000.
Wow!
And so I went to my attorney, agent / I told her, I was like, hey, let's dial up Kim. I flew to Houston. Kim was on a road play, one of those plays like, you know, take me home to mama type of thing. You know what I mean? I actually stayed at Kim's house with her husband and her newborn son while she stayed in the hotel because she had to stay with the cast. 2 days there. I'm like, hey, this is a done deal. Left the contract there. Called me like a week later, like, yeah, we're not going to go with you.
Wow.
I was like, okay, what
Did
do I
she decide on another?
Yeah, she got a label that was able to give her an advance. I'm like, but I thought you were against all that, like the big machine type of stuff. Eventually, the money won out, and I'm not saying that that's what it was all about. So then I get a call from Lashon Pace, of the Pace sisters. She calls me and says, "Yo, I heard that you tried to sign Kim. I'm ready to sign it." So I drive to Atlanta. We're at J. Alexander's. She has a letter of intent in her hand. She ain't never met me.
Wow.
She's like, I want to do this and do this and do this, and I want to have a tour, and I think I can do it through your label. I'm like, yo, this is okay. Is it this easy? I go home. I go to this distribution company out in Franklin. They give me a distribution deal on the spot. They said, we know you didn't sign Kim, and by the way, you have no chance of signing Lashon. She just needed to get another label involved in order to cut the deal that she did. But the fact that you were able to talk to both of these two legends, we're giving you a distribution deal. And I got a distribution deal with no artist.
Wow.
So I signed one of the men, one of the groomsmen from my wedding, Dejuan Starling, who sang backup for everyone. I say everyone, I'm talking from Michael McDonald to CeCe Winans to Al Green. He was a lifer. You know, Donnie McClurkin. I'm talking about guest spots with Kelly Price. He was but he was a friend of mine. I went to college. I sang with him in choir. He was like next.
Yeah.
So I signed him. We put a CD out. It's fully distributed. Walmart getting ready to stop the stores, and then the distribution company files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
Oh, no.
And so that was I got into the industry. I'll say all that to say I got into the industry just when the industry tanked. So it was a huge financial blow because my investors had invested. It taught me a lot of business lessons about learning signs and things like that. So yeah.
But do you think the opportunities that you've had, whether it's been through sports or music industry or anything else, why do you think certain things, opportunities come to you? You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of people we go through life and certain things happen, and you think sometimes things happen because we attract them, or because we recognize the opportunity, or maybe it's just our energy, right? Or maybe it's our ability to communicate, and therefore we do attract certain opportunities. But what do you attribute, just kind of the life that you've lived so far, the journeys that you've been on?
That's a great question, and I believe that it's all summed up in a book that I'm writing called "The Middleman is Still Alive."
The middleman, still alive. Okay.
Yeah. In business, I would say probably in the early '90s, everybody wanted to cut out the middleman because everybody wanted to save money, right? And it didn't matter what industry or market you were in, what vertical you were in. Everybody wanted to go directly to the wholesaler. People didn't realize that there is a innate talent that some people have of bringing folks together.
Sure.
Right? And so I'm not necessarily the most talented guy in the world, but I saw my dad do it. And again, that was one of the people that I admired.
Yeah.
My dad would sit right in the middle and negotiate. He was a great negotiator. He would bring people with talent together. And next thing you know, it's something phenomenal, but it's got Frank Alford's name on it. And it's like, but he's doing this through partnerships. I've always been in love with partnerships. And so, like, the music thing, it wasn't me. It was my agent for racing that knew Kim, right? Yeah. And it was my friendships with multiple people in the music industry that I was able to get an education for. Yeah. So, like, literally, if an opportunity comes, I feel like my network is so wide that I have the resources to get educated about it and to put the right things in place, or the right people in place, to leverage the relationships to create the service or product that is the opportunity.
Yeah. And is that why you eventually, when you started Alfco Wireless Consulting, is that pretty much the business model, right? You're like the ultimate resource for different, IT vendors or carriers or service providers.
Yeah. The way that I describe how my business goes is that almost all of my conversations with my customers start off this way. I don't know if you can do this, but ... Right? I've got a video security issue, right? But I need to manage it remotely, and I need to tie it to a cloud server that the police can actually, access. I don't even think that exists today, Carlin. What do you think? Okay, let me make some calls.
Yeah.
Right. And that is the 50,000 foot premise for Alfco. I started Alfco 7 years ago as a wireless recycling business. Again, that was an extension of my relationship with the guy. One of the people I told you I admire, Shuman Dutta. He has an actual recycler. I actually worked for him at the world's largest recycler, Recellular, before they went away, right? So you go to Verizon and buy a phone, and you turn your old phone, and the old phone gets sent away to be recycled. You send it to Recellular, right? Prior to that, I worked for Asurion in their managed wireless services division, right? So we were like a $25 million think tank inside of the $2 billion company right here in Nashville. So all of that wireless experience led up to, I just go up to a company that just bought 500 iPhones for their sales force, nationwide, and ask them for their old ones. Say, we'll wipe the data clean, provide data security for that, and we'll sell them overseas for twice as much and give you a cut.
Oh, wow.
It's easy sale. Until all of the retail outlets started doing it themselves. So then Alfco went away for a little bit. And so the retooling of it and the reforming of it and the reemergence of it in 2019 came out of me working for Bold Planning, which was a continuity of operations outfit here in Nashville, IT outfit, that did operations and emergency operations planning in the cloud, right? So we hosted these plans for the state of Oregon, city of Chicago, state of Kansas. I'm talking big customers that were my customers, right?
Yeah.
And all of this contingency emergency planning using technology in order to back it up. So let's back up a second. I was inspired to be in this space, and what Alfco is really based in is emergency management through technology. If your internet goes down, you need a failover, right? That's what we specialize in, right?
So that's the flagship.
That's the flagship.
Product,
that's the flagship product. But we also, want to make sure that you have a very balanced technology ecosystem, right? That's why we partner with you. If you need to boost your internet, you need better internet speed, right? So that you don't need our failover as much, right? It's still being prepared for the inevitable that something is going to happen. So we back up. I was working for a company called Dialectic Communications Corporation based in Franklin, Tennessee. It's reverse 911 technologies, telephony, right? We were making call outs to people like in the state of Florida to evacuate them to when a hurricane was coming on the way. So on September 11th, 2001, I was on my way to work to Franklin. I was late. I was listening to sports radio, and they said a plane has hit one of the World Trade Center towers. I'm thinking it's like a Cessna, right?
Yeah.
I'm not thinking anything of it. I get to the office. There's nobody at the front desk. This is in Cool Springs. Like we had just moved into the Willis building, so it was like state of the art. A lot of glass, a lot of soft music. Walk in, no receptionist.
Yeah.
Walk past the conference room, nobody. Then I walk past our knock. And the founder of the company, Chuck Smith, who founded the technology, invented the technology, call-out technology, he told me when he hired me, he said, if you ever look at this knock and you see all the lights on in every server, it means one of two things. Either the world is coming to an end or we're at war. And I walked past there and the whole thing was lit up like a Christmas tree.
Wow.
And the eerie feeling that I was in there by myself, because Dialogic was a decent sized company. I mean, we had probably 75 people in that location. And I come around the corner and everybody's huddled up around TVs.
Yeah.
And I see three dudes with satellite phones. The big old satellite phones, back in the day. There were three guys from the Pentagon that were there for training, because the Pentagon was one of our customers.
Wow.
And we made over 500,000 phone calls to help evacuate people out of New York City. Some of our customers were actually in the World Trade Center. And when I got home that night and I was watching the news, I just broke down and I just cried. And my wife was just like, yo, what's wrong? And I was like, I feel like we could have done more. And she was like, what are you talking about? I was like, we helped evacuate people, but if we had had some kind of warning ahead of time, we had technological infrastructure, the telephony infrastructure in place to get people out.
Wow.
And I said, I did not realize that getting into technology that I could have that kind of impact on the safety of people or on our community or on our nation for that matter.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with that. And so the emergency preparedness was always a component. So even that bold planning, that was a huge part of what we did, the emergency operations planning. And so Alfco Wireless, when I took advantage of another opportunity, a former coworker of mine from Asurion, he's the one that had the failover technology. He had been after me for years. He said, man, you need a partner. This is hot. But also, too, this is emergency preparedness, like you keep preaching, through technology. And finally, we partnered up, and we had a handful of contracts in hand, and that was the launch of it, man. And we've been doing that ever since, and adding to our portfolio. So we skipped over a question, and I'm going to tie this all together. When I ran for mayor of Nashville in 2018, I was still at Bold Planning.
Okay.
I actually had plans for the city. There was 13 people that ran, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna be honest, it was a clown show.
And this was the runoff, right?
This is the runoff.
Okay.
So Megan Berry had stepped down.
Yep.
She had paid $10,000 back to avoid jail time.
I didn't even know he was gonna bring that up, but okay. She
stepped down. You can Google it. You can Google it. So she stepped down. I didn't even get into the why. So 13 people ran, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I did not run for like noble reasons, right? I was actually going to run for city council or for our district, because I didn't want them to build Bellevue High School near my house.
Okay.
I didn't want the traffic. I didn't want teenagers running through that's really why I ran. And the people who supported me, we ended up supporting Bill Mitchell, who decided to stay in that district. We were like, all right, well, it's cool. He's good. And then the people who supported me were like, yo, you should run for mayor. I'm like, why? I don't want to run for mayor. They're like, but in open election, if you get out there, your name recognition, when you do run for our district, the name recognition will be there. I'm like, I can't get a petition up to get enough names. Like in a couple of days, they had enough names.
How many names did you need on the petition?
Wasn't that many. I can't remember. It was like 200, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Well, I didn't even know 200 people knew me. Who I was in Bellevue. And then I was like, yeah, I'd have to raise some money. And like, now we're gonna hook you up with the Chamber of Commerce. Like, so they wrote me a check.
Wow.
Like, wow. Okay, so now I should take this thing seriously. So I was doing my research, man. My customers, Seattle Transit Authority, City of Chicago. So I was with Chicago PD, doing trainings and on the side going, let me talk to you real quick. You know what I mean? What are these community overlays and things like that? So I was one of the few of the 13 who actually came prepared to talk about how to address the city's issues because I was connected once again.
Yeah.
I wasn't the one that had the talent or the experience, but I knew people who did.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's key, man. So I want to bring something out as it relates to your flagship product with Alfco. So what makes it different or distinctive as compared to other, proclaimed wireless failover services?
Sure. So most of the wireless failover services are one carrier.
Okay.
Like you have a Verizon SIM card in there.
Yeah.
So
like LTE, so Verizon or T-Mobile.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We have multi-SIM cards. We have multi-carrier SIM cards.
Okay.
So you can get a SIM card from us that has 2 carriers. You can get over 3 carriers. So we're, red, blue, and now magenta. And we can connect 5G as well. And if you have the finances, we can even connect you via satellite, so that those are more like disaster preparedness. Like are willing to pay for that kind of insurance. So there just aren't that many vendors around that can combine all of those together. Individually, those pieces are, but what we've done at Alfco is brought them all together so that you can get whatever level of failover backup that you.
Because how does wireless technology work though? Like let's say somebody is using this for connectivity, and the closest tower is a Verizon tower, for example, or AT&T or whatever. So what? It's because you have a dual or multi-band SIM card. Is it tapping the closest tower, or is it tapping both of or two?
So first of all, we provision them in the order that you want. Okay. So let's say here in Nashville, AT&T is the strongest. They got the most towers, right? So a multi-SIM card, we would say, all right, you would provision this to fail over to AT&T first. If for some reason, like Christmas Day happens, it automatically fails over to the next strongest signal.
Okay.
So it goes by bandwidth strength. It goes by broadband strength. So you can fail over down to the weakest signal, but remember, this is backup. It's just keeping you up long enough so that Bill McCleskey and his crew can get their act together.
All right, I got it. No, that's key, man. I remember talking to a buddy of mine, and we were outside of the mall. This was we're outside of the mall, and he came out. And he said, "The Gap's internet is down." I think it was the Gap. And I was like, what? He said they could not check anybody out.
Right.
They couldn't, the POS system was down, everything. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. This big company, didn't have something in place because I guess their primary internet service provider was down. So back to running for mayor though. Did you win? Well, you didn't win. I know you didn't win. I'm saying
I'm here. Speaking with you.
The mayor comes through though, but where did you land?
I finished 7th.
7th?
I finished 7th out of 13. Well, Ludi Wallace beat me. He finished 6th and he didn't even run. He was the guy that actually sued the commission to get the open election, and then he just backed off. So I don't know how impressive that is. But I will say,
what did that experience teach you though?
It was one of the greatest experiences of my life.
Yeah,
I had so much fun. I actually did though. When you read the papers and the online analysis, I was finishing like in sometimes 3rd, 4th, and one place 2nd in the debate and forum reviews. So it's like I was up there debating with the big boys and beating most of the other ones who were just talking red.
But I saw you on. I think there was an event. A debate, so to speak, where you guys were at the downtown library.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that, and I was like, man, Carlin knows what he's talking about. I was watching it. I was like, yo. But no, that's pretty cool, man. So right now, your main objective is growing Alfco.
Absolutely.
That's your main objective.
Absolutely.
Right now.
The greenfield is really big for us.
And where do you see it in the next 5 years or so?
In the next 5 years, I do believe that we could be somewhere between a $3.5 $4 million company. I do believe that on that valuation, that somebody would probably want to absorb us, and that technology would have a greater spread. There's no reason for anybody that has hardwired coax internet service to not have a wireless backup.
Yeah.
So the greenfield is America. The greenfield is the world, right? And there are companies with resources that can take that and streamline what we do and globalize it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I believe that is realistic.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love it, man. It's a great vision, and it's out there. So tell us how. Well, let me ask you this question first. So you've experienced a lot in your life. You've been a professional athlete, semi-professional athlete. You played baseball. You ran a 4.49.
Which is like a 4.5, but because it's a 4.4, it sounds more impressive.
No, man, that's a 4.5 is impressive.
Yeah.
So let's not trip. But you ran from there.
Owned the semi-pro basketball team.
I forgot about that.
Middle Tennessee Storm. Shout out to the Middle Tennessee Storm.
So you did a lot, man. Music label, all this stuff, all these experiences, all these lessons, right? Entrepreneur. So what advice would you give an entrepreneur now somebody maybe who's thinking about becoming an entrepreneur or who's on this journey now, and they run into barriers, they run into challenges? Like, what advice would you give them for them to push through and prevail to see their vision through?
Take it in small bites. Don't try to conquer the world with every deal. I wish I could say that I came up with that, but my business mentors who are poured into me have pounded that away in my head. Win the deal that's in front of you. You know what I mean?
I love it. Yeah.
Just, we want to talk about. I was on the phone with one of my business mentors, actually the guy that helped me relaunch this, and he was hitting me over the head. I mean, he was killing me, and he was just like, Carlin, you talk about this, you talk about that. He's like, you could have been doing this, and he's talking about something very specific. It was small, and I was like, man, I liken it to, I was trying to throw a touchdown pass on every play when we should have just been moving the chains and getting the first downs. Nice. And you get enough of those, you'll get to the end zone.
Yeah.
And that's what he was trying to tell me. And it's like, so even for me, like, I'm an entrepreneur, I needed to be reminded of that. And so I think that's the biggest thing that even people just starting off, or folks like myself, been in it for a while and had some level of success in other places, is like, win the deal in front of you.
Yeah.
Take the small bites. Go to bed, get up, rinse and repeat. You do that enough times, you're going to win. Yeah.
And you know what I found too? Like, a lot of people are not willing to commit to that process. Because it may be boring. It's mundane sometimes. But no, that's great advice, man. I love it. I received that. Now, because you've done a lot in your life, is there anything else that you want to do? Is there something else that you like, man, I want to run for Congress, or I want to, I know you're running for a city council? Or?
I do want to run for city council in Nashville.
Okay.
I do. The timing of that will just depend on what the opportunity comes. I'm not going to force it. I'm going to be here. I've been here for 26 years. When time is right, I will run. I do want to run for city council. I'm currently on the school board for F.H. Jenkins Preparatory School, which is the oldest historically black K through 10 now school in the state of Tennessee. I want to get involved with a charter school. So those are some things, and I want to lose like 30 pounds.
All right. Hey, 30, you can do that. Man, hey, I'm gonna tell you something crazy. I lost 20 pounds, bro. Like in the last probably 3 or 4 months. I didn't think I had that much weight to lose.
Yeah, but you ran marathons.
I did.
I can't run from here to the garage, right? So,
well, are you what's the proper term?
I'm an amputee.
Amputee. Okay.
So, but that ain't the reason I run. That's not the reason I can't run. I can't run because of this.
You can walk, man. Like you said, small chunks, bro.
Yeah.
Start walking.
Yeah. We'll walk to Edley's barbecue.
Oh, man. All right. So, Carlin, tell us, man, how can people get in touch with you if they're interested in engaging you or your company?
Yeah, so you can alfcowireless.com. But we're on all social media. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, or you can honestly, I don't have a problem saying this, contact me directly. skip over info@alfcowireless.com and email me, Carlin@alfcowireless.com. I've literally given out my personal cell phone number over the last 17 years because it has not changed. I've always said, if you don't have my cell phone number, you haven't asked.
Hey, there it is. All right, so hit him up for info about his next venture or his business, Alfco Wireless. Hey man, we got a gift for you.
Is it a sweat top?
It is a t-shirt. It's a TechDontSleep t-shirt.
If it ain't a 2X, it's gonna be a sweat top.
Let me see what you got, man. Let me see what you got. Let me see. We might have a. Oh, we got a 2X for you. Hey, this is an extra large, but we'll get you. Oh my God! Hey man, we got you the size for when you lose 30 pounds. That's a goal for me. It's a goal. There you go. Yeah. All right, man. So we're gonna close it out. We appreciate our sponsors for sponsoring the podcast, especially Wow Cable, Comcast Business, Big Leaf Networks, 8x8, ICS, and Your6.com, which is the cloud surveillance company. So we appreciate you guys for making this podcast possible and for sponsoring the recent podcast launch event, which happened in the month of August. So we appreciate you guys for jumping in and being sponsors. And man, I appreciate you for coming through, brother.
Hey man,
and having a conversation.
Much success to you.
Thank you. Same to you, man. And look forward to seeing what you do next with the company and personally in your life. Hey guys, if you are not following TechDontSleep podcast, make sure you do that on YouTube. Just search TechDontSleep podcast and subscribe to the channel and follow us on Apple, and so you can get an indication when we have a new episode coming out. We appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Get your sweats out.
Ah! Get your teeth.
Oh, just be smooth.
Man, this is kind of intimidating, bro. I have a camera
in the morning sun.
What is this close enough to me, or do I need to pull it up a little bit more?
There you go, sir.
Can you see my face? I was supposed to leave it right there.
I think you're good.
Can y'all see me? The advertisement is just like being black.
Yeah.
Because people they assume that every black person knows each other.
Right.
No, but here's the flip side.
This thing got
Most black people do know each other.
They do.
And it's the same with advertists. It's like, no, we don't. All advertists don't know, but most of us actually do.
Yeah.